Tamaria kia koutou huri noa te motu, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. It's your girl Sophronia, and sorry I started a little bit late. We do have a little bit of a change to today's show. So Nene Francis is a little bit busy, and I know that she had another kaupapa on. So today I'm going to be sharing a different kōrero. And so we're okay. Yeah. Okay. And so today our kōrero is in a line with the fact that this month is the month of endometriosis. And endometriosis is a mawиwi, is an illness that affects women. It affects women, and what happens is that the endometrial tissue that would generally here she's coming in. So our Nanny Francis is calling in. Can you talk to her? Okay. So she might. So we're just going to. Sorry, the iwi. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play a waiata, and then we're gonna be back really, really soon.
Tuguna kia he do haire tuguna amanako ka fai whakarerea a whakawai tuguna amoe moe a ka whakatinana.
Kia ora whānau. Kia ora whānau. Okay, so we have... so I'll just let the whānau know what's happening. So we do have Nanny Francis has come in, and she is going to, so I'm going to have a kōrero with Nan, and I'm just going to hold her up here because she's coming in from the phone. And so sorry that you can't see her. But our special guest today, her name is Nanny Francis Mete Smith. Te tahi uri o Ngāti Kaiparuparu, Ngai Tāne Roa, Ngāti Mutunga. And today we're going to have a kōrero about Māori Women's Welfare League. And specifically the way that it has shaped our community, Wairarapa, but also throughout the motu. So I'll let Nan, for those of you that don't know Nan, I'll just let her, introduce herself and talk about how long have you been in the Māori Women's Welfare League for, Nan?
Officially since 1976, but before that, following my mum around and the people of Maungarake, as a youngster, harvesting harakeke and other items for them at the time. And as a youngster, so I brought a brand to the Māori Women's Welfare League. A lot of honour and respect to those who came together in the early 50s. On a research that I'm doing now for our opening of an exhibition on the 6th of April to honour our people. It would have been the 70th year last year, so it's this year that we're actually paying respect to them. And Te Huinga Tātou Tātou is the name of the exhibition down at 15 Queen Street, Hokainga. So we'll be operating there as from the 6th of April for 1 month.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Okay, lots of happening things, lots of gorgeous things around. For us in the Wairarapa, it has been the stalwart woman of our kwikwi's, your nanny too, Sophronia. Lots of kwikwi's. This was known as a Wairarapa district in 1951, and we had our kwikwi at that time and a much revered wahine of Wairarapa, and we've got a little whare that we use at the kura, and we name it after her, and she's Queenie Te Tau. Queenie Te Tau was with the Māori Affairs in the early 50s, that would have been about 50, could have been in the 40s, late 40s, and when it came to the time to bring our people together, there was a health organisation at that time, and she went around our Wairarapa and spoke to a lot of people, then continued on around, going back again when the Māori Affairs put it to a group of people who said we would like to organise it as the Māori Women's Welfare League. And so 1951 was the first conference. Our branches here in the Wairarapa, which were 3 in Masterton, 1 between Featherston and Papawai, Moiroa, down at Hinewaka, South Wairarapa. And after those times, there were other branches that grew. So there were 5 at the beginning in 1951. And they were organised then under what was then known as the Wairarapa District Council. The league is set up so that we have nowadays, there's a branch which we're involved with, known in the area of Ikaro region. Ikaro region runs from Napier down through this east coast to Wellington, and across from Wellington up to Parewahoa, the Bulls on the on the west coast. So that amounts to about, I think at one stage it was about 35, this was in my time, I've been involved. I officially got involved in Christchurch in 76, but all the principles in those first few years as a council, it was looking at aspects of whānau health and how they were putting together food packages for their own self-reliance within their homes, so preserving. And along our Tipiki Road there were a number of plum trees, and there were a number of orchards around the areas, which of course they were inspiring our people then to not waste kai, but to preserve for, prior to that, there were, I can remember as a child, tar was being dried out after coming back from the beach, and meat being cured in a way that, we didn't have fridges then. So it was cured in fat and then taken out when it was needed. And there was, slow cooking, so you got heaps of nourishment from the kai instead of just fast cook. And as a child, there were lots of meetings going on at Maungarake at the time. Mum was a president. It was a number of times it rolled from one person to the next. Because remember, there are 9 in our family, so they must have been able to share that leadership around with others. And Nanny Maggie Hayata was the district secretary. Wonderful, wonderful woman. And with her, of course, was lots of people, like in the Mangarake here was Nanny Toi Walker, the mother of Hariata and Reo Mary, a lot of those, Nanny Rangi Takaru, awesome, kōrero about her particularly, coming together. One little message that I read, I've just come back from Alexander Turnbull, where a number of the stuff there, and I'm getting them all printed off to have. One of the things about Nani Rangi was that she was with her mum, with her mother-in-law, yes, Nanny Wirihita, who, and they were collecting stuff. Anyhow, she was a little younger than her mother. Oh yeah, well, had to be, in her young age, she said in her letter, I slipped and fell and all the harakeke went everywhere. And so she said, and it took time to get up, and she was getting a bit more with the league at the time. And this is just her little notes. So Ben and Henry, if you're watching or picking up on this, you can imagine your little mum, who was so small, carrying this through to Gladstone School at time where they used to operate. And of course, Whanonga, they also operated there down at the White House. Nanny Kiri Tuweki, he was part of that as well. And so there were descendants after that have followed through, being league members. And at the moment, there are 3 branches in Wairarapa currently, and we come under the Ikaroa region, which we don't have as a district council. We come under the regional council, then we go to the national body once a year, and we become our national council. We're all fairly independent. When it comes to conferences, national conferences, we have a number of remits and business that we all come together. But locally, I'm so grateful to heaps of people here. Auntie Mihinamana was in the early 60s, president of the Makota, or actually it was called Makora then, Makora branch, and such a delight knowing that these nannies of ours and aunties carried on through, and she has been a guiding influence here in the Wairarapa. So was Auntie Hariata. Auntie Hariata moved in between one that was down at Oxford Street, and so there was one at Oxford Street which most of the Hayatas went to, and she also came back to Mangaraki often. Currently, there's the Ruamahanga branch, and there's Taitonga down in South Wairarapa. Teresa Aporo's the chair there, and currently at Ruamahanga, Tia Tuta. And we've come across a name too on the records. There was a Tuta woman living here. In my working days, I used to visit Chatham Islands for 10 days each year and came across those names. And people from here, from Hurunuirangi, would have sometimes their meetings up here. This is in the 50s, 51 through to about 58, and then they started dwindling and moving to other areas of the Wairarapa after that, with other leadership, women in leadership coming in. So to be a member now, it's an annual fee, a levy, and of course you get a badge. And to go to conference, we've got to have our colours are blue that we've got on the vest. Lots of things we've been involved in. Of course, our logo is tātou. Giving and sharing with people. And at this time during our COVID times, even though we're being serviced by fabulous iwi groups, and with them, our prayers are for everybody, and what we've been able to do as a lead branch is look at other aspects, and currently looking towards having Vicks, vape, eucalyptus vapor running through, reasonably cheaper things, and using things like the eucalyptus tree leaves. So here I am. I'm a bit short, so I had to take my rake and pull it down off the tree and just boil it up. And I've been boiling it up here, even though I haven't had to go in to be tested, to be isolated. And my neighbours have been doing the same. Currently, and I think from about the early 70s through, there was a change and a big influence that we needed to do with government. Prior to that, it was as well. And in the 50s, because Nanny Queenie Tutau, who was a founding person, she came on to the founding executive as the treasurer. And I can remember her saying to Mum, because Mum had written it down in her journal, make sure that your monies, and at that time was pound, shilling and cents, and pound, shillings and pence, yes. And as her budgets would come round per monthly to make sure that it coincided with how they proposed to use that budget of their little pūtea. They had also in that early 50s a collection point, and it was a give a little, well, similar to what we have on Facebook nowadays. And that was that it was set aside so that the national body could set up a whare for the league to operate out of. And so it was in the mid-60s that they pulled together the house that we've known now in Burnell Street in Wellington, the whare, and it was later that year, early 70s, that it was open, and now we operate from that. There was also another whare up in Auckland for access courses that run. This year, in the remits, a number of things of issues of the time that different branches throughout the Motu have put remits through. And one that we're getting together in April to look at it, because there will be 8 of us from our branch, Te Peka o Wairarapa, going through, and I look through to our sisterhood of our South Wairarapa, Te Tonga, and also Ruamahanga, that we come together and we look at the remits. It's not dictated that we work as a region, but at least we have some idea of what our other branches are thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we all make an independent vote on how we feel about the remit. And we've got some massive leaders throughout the country who have put their remits there, stand their ground.
Yep.
And there's some are really for advisory type, and others are really legislative changes needed. And we've been, over the years, it's been quite exciting seeing the changes. We've had our national president, all the national presidents who actually turned out to be dames. So most of them are dames. So there are two parts to the organisation. One is the open-bodiness of the national organisation, the National Council. The second one, which is under the umbrella of the national body, of the National Council, is that of the support group and finances. And they then support business, Māori women's business. We've had them here several times supporting our local business, and Tito Mea has pushed to have this done, and I think we've had the group called Hene Boss come over and giving us advice and how they look at a system for Te Tautoko Māori women business.
Yeah.
And hey, by the way, I need to do that for your business too. we need to get them back here again, because they have a loan system, and then in time, when your business is, and it's given a time allocation, then you see some putia back towards the organisation. So, but it's a good standing point, and other areas in our rōpū have been surprised by the amount of energy that's behind it all, nationwide and internationally.
Yeah.
So a lot of our women have been influential in United Nations working capacity, and also bridging the gap with other similar business throughout the world. So we've come from really looking at our own, in the 50s, our own homes and the revival of well-being, and in Mātauranga Māori, to now having a greater influence of what it means, Mātauranga Māori, Te Reo Māori, contained in every rohe, or iwi rohe, is that kaua, the tikanga, and the place of women in the situation. And our whakawhanaungatanga is huge in that respect of allowing that manakitanga to survive in aspects, and some of the things currently unused. It's rather fascinating how Māori have re-looked at who could they disperse manakitanga with, particularly through this pandemic times.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So lots of controversial things.
Yes.
Which actually, makes us say, oh, yes, okay, what's my opinion about it? And do us, what's our iwi opinion about it? What's our marae opinion? We would have it all open, and hey, this is good for the mind and good for the thoughts of thinking. So currently, and incidentally, your brother is wanting to do your mum. Lots of little incidental things I've got around the house. I'm just walking around with the camera. So, you can't see me anyhow.
No, we can't see. Yeah, we've brought you in, because your Zoom thing wasn't able to work, so we've got you on speaker. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to open up what you can explain it to people, because you'll be able to see this, Sophronia. Yeah. Sophronia.
So Nan lives in the Papakainga at Huranui-Orangi, right next to Huranui-Orangi, and she's opening up some taonga Oh, yes, yep. So this is a picture of, so that's the Māori woman, Tātou Māori Women's Welfare League picture. And what year is that from? 1962?
1952 in Auckland.
1952 in Auckland. Yep.
And right in the centre there, may not be able to see it, but locally Wairarapa, come on in to the exhibition, and this is going to be blown up down at National Library and framed because it's got Nani Makere holding up our Wairarapa sign.
Nani Makere was from Wairarapa holding up the Wairarapa sign. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
At this 1950. They were at the 1951 inaugural conference in Wellington, but the photos are taken more of the executive people, and for our Ngāti Pro, Ngāpuhi women, some strong advocates there, and Nani Whinakupa, and so on that. But our Nani Queenie Tatou is there, and we're hoping that we would have a taonga, which I think the Ruamahanga branch, because most of her uri are in the Ruamahanga branch, and sure, our sisterhood is such as that we, those who align directly with the Nan. Okay, looks like our message is coming to an end, no?
Yeah, so, you can keep talking, Nan. Oh, I don't know what's happened, but I'm just want to touch on a few things that Nan has talked about. So she's talked about she talked about quite a number of our nannies from Wairarapa who have contributed to Māori Women's Welfare League in Wairarapa, including Nani Queenie Tatou, Nani Toi Walker, and then we see now how their uri, their descendants, moko, in these leadership roles in Māori Women's Welfare League, and so there's been some incredible kōrero that Nan has just shared in her kōrero. So if you go back and you'll be able to identify, like from the 1951. The evolution, I suppose, of Māori Women's Welfare League and their focus and emphasis. But you were talking about that 1952 conference, yeah, and Nani Makere was there, and Nani Queenie Tatou, yep.
Yes, Nani Queenie Tatou, Nani Makere. These were other members at the time. Is Nani June Himona.
June Himona, yeah.
Yep. Nani June Himona, my mum, Ida.
Yeah.
Reidi.
Nani Ida, yeah.
Yes, and also there was Lou Cook.
Oh, yes,
yep. Was Lou Rangi at the time.
Okay.
In her first
Nani
marriage.
Lou Cook.
Yes. Hine Waka had a group. Hine Waka branch.
Oh.
Down there. Nani
Memory, yep, Te Whaiti. Okay. Is that Nani Memory Te Whaiti?
Yes, yep. Yes. Her, they were present at conference, and so the Po'oa branch, which is also the east side of Masterton, Lansdowne area, north side of Masterton, and the group of women there. The name has just gone from me, but she was another Hayata that went up, and I think she lived in Hawke's Bay quite a bit. But getting back to others, so she's surrounded, Nani Queenie's surrounded by 5 Wairarapa women. And I'm kind of hoping that Uri could recognise her. So, hey, that's an invite to come on into the exhibition when we open to see who these are. We have also a junior branch, which is exciting. Te Roku Rangatahi o Wairarapa, which goes across. And we all branches throughout our Ikaroa area got a bit of a pūtea to add. And they're and we need to confirm our talk with the Masterton District Council, because our rangatahi would like to put te reo signage in the park, and that'll be led by Matariki Riwai Couch, and she has a group of kōtiro with her. At the stage, our 10 to 15 year olds are excitable bunch, but it goes up to 18. Our older age group, a lot of them are now in tertiary studies. Lily Arahana's daughters down in Canterbury. We have Kiara Coots Meets, who is doing medicine down in Dunedin. These are ex-chair presidents of the junior branch, and also Wairarapa, who is up in Auckland. So some have gone into Mahitoi, and others into tertiary studies. Pania Matthews is now in education and doing wonders. We've got Diana Cruz here, doing her, like you, even though yours is on hold, Sophronia, doing their PhD. So this is continuing. So there's actually 4 in our community doing PhD studies. And this is so open to Māori across the board. So of other iwi who are living in the areas where a branch is established. And here in the Wairarapa, of course, we've got our wonderful woman, Hera Tote, who's being an asset, having her in our community, who we can kōrero off. Parimo Matthews and Hauora, and Hene Ho Adams. We've got also an extension and membership to that of in 15 years been involved. One becomes a life member.
Yeah, Mum is a life member. My mum is.
Yes,
yep.
Your mum is a life member.
Yep.
She was up in Mangakino and she got transferred down here. One of the sort of kaupapas we've got, or the takes that we've got in our area that we comply to the ture setup, is that we have a mihi whakatau to them as they come in, and they are nominated. But Auntie Nolene, my cousin Nolene Smith, came through from extensive work she did up in the Wairiki area at Mangakino, and as the chairperson there, chairing their meetings and inspiring their women in that area. I saw her at conference many years. Now she's back here, and it was lovely to have her transferred to our branch to Wairarapa, and with her son and daughter back here now, they will do a little write-up in her profile, and we're extending to all our members throughout the Wairarapa currently to do similar. Just a little statement of why you joined, why you become a member, and each of the secretaries of our branches are really pushing it, and we've got Simone Grayson in our Wairarapa branch, and with Jessie Deans, who's our treasurer, putting together these profiles of our locals. And our exhibition is also going to be as an expo with a wānanga happening on the Friday and the Saturday. So our first week, the exhibition's open for 4 weeks.
So the April, so opens in April?
Yes.
Yeah, 6th of April.
6th of April.
Yep.
And
At Haukainga Nan.
It'll be our mātauranga, where the Atahia is the facilitator. So it's also where we're going to kōrero about people who had the pursuit of higher education, and that's yourself and others. And this be on a rotating within the screen there, so people can watch and sit and watch that, hear the kōrero. Those who have done well in te reo Māori, So we're going to have a few of those as well. Also expounding throughout the week, and then on the Friday, Saturday, Te Ātahia will look at Maramataka as the wānganga. Week 2, that's on the following week, the wānganga proposed, or for the whole week, the expo theme for that week will be on mahi rāranga. So combining through that, bringing in experts throughout our area to kōrero on aspects of harvesting, what to look for, how to do, and then doing a wānganga at the end of the week on the Friday night and through to Saturday. Prep work on the Friday, on the Saturday. These may not be as for those who are listening who have never done this work, this training, because there are wāngangas going on in the community where you can do that. I think this is going to be more as an advance, but do open to people so that you can see different methods. So the wahine that we're going to be having, we're yet to be confirmed with her, but she is exemplary. We've got 2 very, very talented wahine who are gifted maraikura. And the 3rd week is on hauora health. So throughout that time, the week, there will be little exhibitions going on, expos going throughout that week, with Hinehau Adams at the end of the week doing a rongo Māori. There will be a little excursion early Saturday morning to recognise different rongo that we've got in the community. And then the last week of the exhibition, we're going to turn it over to our rangatahi, leave it to them, and the 2 rangatahi that will be coming through the conference, because 8 of us from our branch, and I know our sister branches will also have their number, will be down at conference. Hey, and they're going to be zooming back TikToks. So they're going to go around conference people and from other iwi and just get some kōrero, put it together and zoom it back through to the exhibition. And hopefully it will be broadcast. So we're just looking for someone with that techno skills to be there at Hokainga to receive it and put it up and generate that kōrero waiata throughout the week. And we come back on the 1st of May and close down and support the next kaupapa that will be going on through. And that's us for that part, but the mahi goes on.
I'll be sure to share that too, Nan, that information. Yep. So if any wāhine...
Yes, I'll have it all out on the program shortly.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. But come along, people, and no mind. And I know there's restrictions on the number of people that we can take in. Just take care, and keep yourself safe. We'll continue with the protocols that have been set for us, in as much as distancing, and with also, this is all part of Hokainga anyhow, but wear your masks.
Yep.
That we'll have there, and we'll have sanitised items for maintaining your personal cleanliness and washing hands, etc.
Oh, so, kia ora, Nan.
Okay, yeah. That sounds exciting, hey?
Yeah, that sounds awesome, Nan. We're actually coming to the end of our kōrero. Yep. To our whānau that came in, I just want to acknowledge all of the work that Nanny Francis does in our community. And I just want to say too that when I was a teenager, my mum and dad moved to Mangakino. We were living here in Masterton. They moved up there, and I lived with Nanny Francis, and she was working at the library. You were working at the library at that time, and Yeah, and so I have lots of time and respect for Nanny Frances for taking me in, but also for all of the work that she does in Wairarapa, wherever she goes, to rejuvenate our tikanga, to ensure that our voices as wahine Māori and wahine are heard, and that we are always part of those key decision-making processes, that we're not excluded, and that still happens. And so so thank you, Nan, for your time, taking us down memory lane and reminding us of our nannies, such as Queenie Te Tau, and all of the others who have played huge contribution in Wairarapa through Māori Women's Welfare League. Neira te mihi kia koe, Nan. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
No reira. Mihi atu ki a koutou. Taku tono mo ki a koutou. He whakatauki no hukarere. Kia u ki te pai. Cleave to that which is good.
Yeah.
Even our men folk, we've got honouring men in our membership.
Yeah.
We honour our men in so many, many ways, and they have done the same.
Yeah,
We've got Joe Howard here in Masterton, but there's also Jason Kerehi, Rawiri Smith, and many, many, many others. We're so grateful. May Manaya, who's at the Kura, had won our regional Ngāpu Kōrero competitions and led us through, and now look, wonderful teacher, wonderful artist, excitable times.
Yes.
And so, no doubt.
Kia ora, Nan. Mā te wā.
Mā te wā. Hey, kona.
Ai. Yeah. Thank you, whānau, for we roll with things here at in our show, and so I just want to, while I'm kind of like wrapping things up, I just want to like touch on a few things that Nan has shared during the kōrero. So she talked about some of those key wahine that have played a huge contribution, who have Nene Queenie Te Tau, and Nene Toi Walker. She talked about Nene Mākere, Nene Memory Te Whaiti, Nene Mihi, who has yes, I want to acknowledge all of them who have laid the foundations, and then also acknowledge all of those who are currently in leading the waka right now. So that's Nanny Frances in her peka, and then we have Tia Tuta for the Ruamahanga peka, and then Whaia Teresa Aporo in our Te Taitonga South Wairarapa peka. And also want to acknowledge all of our rangatahi, and then talked about some of the rangatahi who have now gone on to, they're in mahitoi or studying in university. And so what I get from the kōrero is that Māori Women's Welfare League helps to develop our wahine into leaders. And we're all leaders. We're all leaders in our homes, in our communities, and then there are some that are leaders in different ways, and these are the ones who will be who lead from the front, and then there's those leaders that lead from the back, and we need everybody. And then Nan also mentioned our tāne, and I always believe that in the concept of balance, and that is in Te Ao Māori, we know that our whatukura and our maraikura, our men and our women, that there always had to be balance. And so so I like the fact that she acknowledged those, our tāne, Jason Kirihi was one of them, a good friend, our Mai Manaina, and many others who play key roles in supporting our Māori Women's Welfare League here in the Wairarapa. So what I'm going to be doing, Nan talked about the exhibition that is coming up in April. I will be sharing more kōrero about that. So that if you want to pop down to Haukainga, which is on Queen Street, at the end of Queen Street, down by the New World's End, I think it's number 15 Queen Street, but Haukainga, that's when the exhibition for Māori Women's Welfare League commences next month, and it will be a great time just to acknowledge the way that Māori Women's, or the many things that Māori Women's Welfare League has done in Wairarapa, but also throughout Te Motu, how they've contributed to legislation, rangahau research, and making change in our communities. And that has always been at the heart of Māori Women's Welfare League, is about women, health, women and families, but also health, addressing things such as housing and racism, and anything that impacts on the well-being of our whānau. But that's me for now. I have another hui to go to, and look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week, and like Nan said, kia u ki te pai, hold on to any of those things that are good, that lift others up, and we will see you next week. Mā te wā.